Hi, I'm Sim, one of your librarians here at Ohlone. Have you always wanted to take a look at a database but didn't know how to get that search started? Well, I'm here to help. Let's go take a look. Okay, so let's talk about some real basic database search strategies here. Today, we're going to talk really quickly about kind of two fundamental search strategies. The first being how to use additional search terms to help us limit our results. So, to help us pare down our results to a more manageable number. And the second thing we're going to talk about is how to consider scope within our search terms. And we'll talk a little bit about what scope means in just a second here. Okay, so I'm taking a look at Academic Search Complete, which is going to be a good general database for us to use. And I'm going to start my search here in this search box. And I am going to type in climate change because that is always a good topic to research. So I'm going to click search. And it's going to return a number of results for me. Here we have 276,000 results. Personally, I do not want to comb through that many. So I want to use additional search terms to help limit that number of results that come back to help get me to a more manageable level. So what I'm going to do is click back in this search box up here, and I'm going to add some additional terms to help limit this result by typing the word and I'm going to say, give me articles about climate change that include both climate change and, let's say, United States. It's a good geographical limiter. So let's see how many results we get here. So we've gone from over 280,000 down to 74,000 results. So we can add additional search terms to make that even tighter. So maybe my topic in particular is not only climate change in the United States, but maybe how it affects food production. So let me type food production in there and search. And now we can see our search results gets down to 1,800. So now all of the articles that are returned should include not only climate change, but should also include the United States, and it should include topics of food production. So now we're getting to a much more tailored search. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the scope of our research. So what exactly is the scope of our research? For our intents and purposes, we are going to talk about the scope as being sort of the extent or the parameters or the boundaries of our research. Basically, what's all the stuff that we're going to include in our research versus what are we not going to include? So this can include things like sort of defining maybe your geographical boundaries. So from the climate change example, I was defining my geographical boundaries as the United States. Maybe we consider the time period. Maybe we're looking for a specific time period that we're researching. Maybe there's a specific group of people that we're looking at or a specific population. So the scope can include all of these kinds of things, and it's up to you to define that scope. And as you do your research, hopefully over time, that scope will come into a little bit better focus. So using our climate change example here, let's take a look at the scope of what we're actually searching for. So you can see we have three different terms here. We've got climate change, we've got the United States, and we've got food production. So if we wanted to kind of tighten up that scope, instead of using the United States, maybe we'll use California. So I'm going to type California in here because California is going to be much more specific, narrow scope than the United States as a whole. So we have 1,800 results. We can see if we change that term to a more specific term, we go down to 278. Maybe instead of food production, we want to narrow this even further, and we want to search specifically for crop yields, right? Instead of looking at food production as a whole, we want to look specifically at just the crop yields. I'm going to click search, and that brings me down to 163. And as you can see, historical effects of temperature and precipitation on California crop yields. Climate change modeling finds many crop yields are likely to decline. Now we're starting to get really specific results based on our topics. So here's an example of some terms that go from narrow at the bottom to really broad at the top. So North America is a very broad topic. United States is much more narrow. California is even more narrow than that. And San Francisco Bay Area is even narrower than that. So using different terms can affect the range of your results. Well, that was fascinating. If you have any further questions, we're here to help you at the Ohlone College Library. We're located on the 5th floor of Building 3 on the main campus and in the Learning Resource Center on the Newark campus. Happy searching.